Welcome back, C++ programmers. This is going to be part 3 of our videos. So I am going to go and I'm going to copy some code, and then I'm going to modify the code so I don't have to constantly type and make the same mistakes over and over again. So I will have my while loop I'm copying. And that looks good. And I will copy my start number, 2 lines of code. And we're going to do one thing. Suppose we want to increment it by 3. Of course, you can always have the user input. What do you want to what do you want to increment it by? So I'm going to use increment. And I'm going to increment it by 3. So what's going to wind up happening here, if we don't modify the code, it's just going to change everything. And it's going to make the same thing as we did before. But here what we want to do is we want to increment it by 3. And I'll do the same thing with the counter. So I'm copying the counter. And I'm just going to modify this to, I'll just steal this line here. And now I'm going to make one modification. If I were to leave this as this, it's just going to increment it by 1. But now we want to increment it. So we can do it one of 2 ways. We can do number equals number plus 3, or we can do it the preferred way. And we're going to do number plus equals 3. So what that means is increment number, the plus, and increment it by 3. That's what that means. So let's do that again and see what happens is, and actually we don't want to do that. We want to do it by increment. So now we're doing good. So let's go and run it again. We'll do the system CLS. And this time, let's do it to 100 and see what happens. So what is n number? 100. And boom. So now we can see that I never incremented counter, but you can see it's incrementing by 3. So here is an important thing to remember. When you see a mistake like this, stop whatever you're doing. I'm going to put this here, and I know I need to increment the counter, and make sure that you fix it right away so you don't forget. And then let's see what happens now. So we're looking good, and let's see if it works. And we'll do 100. So now we can see we have 34 of those that printed out. So that works pretty nice. And then you can always go back and check to see if there's any kind of issues in there. Or you can say, what is the 25th multiplication of 3 starting at 1? And the answer would be 73. How many exciting is that? So now I'm going to do something a little bit different. And I'm going to show you how a do while works. But that's going to be another video. I use a do while for data input. So I want to make a separate video on that, but I want to show you the syntax of that. Start off with the words do, D-O. and then you're going to put in the brackets, of course. Now the only difference is here we're putting the while after. So let's make a condition of whatever we want. We'll just put while need data. Now we don't have anything called need data. And we'll make sure that need data is true. And then we just need to go up and declare it. And we'll declare it as a Boolean. So yes, I'm initializing it here and then assigning a value here, but the difference is I want to make sure that there's no thing that can go wrong, so I will initialize again. The compiler's not going to stop and say, you just wasted a billionth of a second in here. So let's just go while it's true. Let's do something real simple. And then I'm going to make this false, and you can see the difference. See out. And let's, for the heck of it, let's print out need data. And then we're going to say need data we're going to set it to false. Normally you want to set it with a condition. So this is what I would normally do. Something like need data equals 1 equals 2. Well, we know that's not true. So that's going to set it to false. So what will happen here is we're going to print something regardless of whatever it is. So let's just actually, we'll do it first, true, and then we'll change it to false. And let's see what happens. So we'll just do 10. So boom, it printed out 1 because need data happens to be true. Some systems will print out true. Some systems will print out true, 1 or 0. If it's false, it's going to print out, should print out a 0. So now let's set it as false. And see what happens now. So we'll just do 10. So now it's set it as 0. So that's the difference. Regardless of what happens, notice the condition is false. It's going to go in it one time anyway. However, if you want that, such as you need data input, and say you want to do as long as data input, don't press X to exit, you need to make sure that you get in there first so that you can actually get the data input. Otherwise, you have to do the data input first, then you have to do the data input inside the loop. That is it for this. So be looking for these and many, many more. And as always, have a wonderful, wonderful day.